3, 2, 1.
In a world where film trailers are no longer introduced with that opening statement, 3 spicy boys from across the world will learn that it's not what's outside the film that counts, it's the jankum on the inside. Coming December 2018. This is Sardonicast.
I miss Don LaFontaine.
That's my
Very
favorite
good.
one.
Oh, thank you. Really?
Yeah, so do I.
Already?
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Better than the SpongeBob?
Yeah.
The
No,
SpongeBob
I
was
just-
pretty epic.
That one was more epic, but I have a fondness for this one.
How was my I wasn't sure how well I did the impression of the voice. I tried, but
Pretty
It's
good.
pretty solid.
Okay, thank
It's pretty
you.
solid. Yeah.
yeah. Well, this is Sardonicast, and I'm Adam from Your Movie Sucks. Nice.
Go, you fucking Brit.
what do you mean? It's between me and
I'm
you.
Ralph from Ralph
This-
the Movie Maker, youtube.com/Ralph the Movie Maker. And
Wait,
off to
wait.
my left is...
Oh, I'm on your left, am I? I'm Alex.
Yeah.
Right, everything.
I'm just imagining you're on my left.
You're his left-hand man.
Yeah.
Where's Adam then? If you're
On my right.
if I'm on your,
Duh.
why are we?
Oh,
sat
you're in
like
the
that?
center.
Why are we?
Ralph's
sat
the
on
center
line?
of attention.
I don't know. That's
Maybe
how it
we're in
was.
a
Oh no,
circle.
actually in like the animation, I was in the middle in the animation,
okay.
right?
Okay.
No, I was.
I don't. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Whatever.
you were.
I don't
the one
fucking
I
remember.
edited. Anyway.
All right. Then I changed the seating order.
You guys remember Don
How's everybody?
LaFontaine, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Voice
great.
actor
of course.
Man,
Mm-hmm.
it's so different without him. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I guess like trailers have evolved from that presentation anyway.
Yeah.
Do you miss those kinds of trailers?
Nostalgically, yeah, but not. I mean, I don't think that they really help that much anyway. I usually feel like if there's a trailer out nowadays that either has like that, you never see someone talking to the audience much anymore. But sometimes you'll see titles in between the clips that say pretty much the identical exact same thing that a voice would
true.
anyway. So you'll see like clip, and then like in 2018 there was blah blah blah, or like trying to say something about the character, or like this is Jake, this is blah blah blah, and he's got a problem. Usually any one of those trailers that feels as though they need to do that is probably for a bad movie, unless there's something like really complicated that needs to be understood about a science fiction universe in order for you to even understand the trailer.
Yeah, it's really corny.
Yeah.
It's better than the Inception noise, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I'd
I
rather
wonder,
have
is that very common
voiceover.
anymore? I know that there's a lot of like...
yeah, it still is. They try to mask it a little more now. It's not as obvious, but they still have like these loud, bassy noises, and they think people are like, ooh.
I think the most common one right now is the... it's almost kind of like a dubsteppy, kind of like... Boo! Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
yeah.
like the new
Oh.
version of it.
And
Everything's
there's that thing they do in
serious,
every trailer.
slow-mo.
They do that thing where they time, they edit around like gunshots or something. Normally sync to a song, like the beats of
Oh,
a
yeah.
song. So it's like duh, duh,
That's
duh,
the new
duh.
thing.
Yeah, I think that
Baby
started
Driver
with
did
the... well, I mean, the one I think of is the Suicide Squad trailer, because everybody was so excited for
That's
that
true, yeah.
when they were doing it with
Yeah.
the Bohemian Rhapsody song.
That's right, yeah.
That was a well-edited
Yeah.
trailer, and
It
the
was.
movie still looked like shit to me, and I was right.
Yeah, the movie was a poorly edited trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
pretty much.
Bada boom.
Did you make a trailer for Lover?
I did. It's pretty neat.
Oh, I
People
didn't see
tell me
it.
it's a good trailer. Oh, you totally should. Wait, oh, you didn't watch it? No, you did watch it on
I
VOD.
watched
I sent you
The movie.
a Blu-ray, but I sent you the
I
link
haven't
on
gotten
VOD.
the...
and
I
the
didn't
VOD
receive
has
the
a...
Blu-ray yet.
Oh yeah, that's not coming to you for a while. Hopefully before Christmas, but before the VOD, there's a trailer.
Oh, I didn't
So-
get it.
I guess you...
I just...
but it's right there.
I saw the trailer somewhere.
I don't know what...
Did you like
it was a good
It
trailer.
wasn't...
Thank you. Should I have added voiceover? Or Inception noises?
Did you want it to be more epic? Because
Yeah, I
that
should've
should
made
make
it
it
more
more
man.
epic.
Hire the actor from Cool Cat to voice over trailers. I forget that guy's name. He's a saint.
Derek Savage?
No, the guy that plays Cool Cat. Derek Savage narrating a trailer.
Now
would-
it's Derek
would be more
Savage because you can't
uncomfortable.
get that guy anymore.
I don't know what's happening in this universe. It's just I
whatever.
need to know what's gonna happen. Is he gonna film the entire Cool Cat versus the Wicked Witch with himself?
I was trying to transition to Lover, but if you want to talk about Cool Cat,
Yes.
we can,
Well,
we can do that. Let's just talk about Cool
We can
Cat
talk about
again.
either of them. Yes, let's talk
I'd
about
rather
Lover.
talk about Lover.
Yeah, Ralph made a
Just
movie.
briefly.
Ralph the
I
movie
did
maker
when I was 18.
is a movie maker. How old are you now?
I'm 21, so this is a while ago.
That seems like a long
I got
time.
out of high school. Yeah, I got out of high school. Well, I finished it when I was like, I almost turned 20. I finished it, and then it goes through distribution hell for fucking like a year or two. That stuff sucks, but like it's finally out. I just did it myself. I'm like, I've had it with distributors, I've had it with festivals. I'm just gonna release it myself, and it turned out pretty well to do that. I think that's a great way to release a movie, but I'm curious what you guys thought of it, because it seems like most people, well, like the reaction I was expecting was most people would like it, and some people would think it's boring, and that's about what I got. So I'm pretty happy with it. But what'd you think?
Alex, you didn't see the whole thing, did you?
I haven't finished all. I've seen 40, 50 minutes before we had to record this.
Oh,
I enjoyed
okay.
what I saw. I have some questions I want to ask you about it. Not like mean ones, but
I guess are we spoiling any of it or?
We don't need to. You guys pay me if you want to see it. Nah, we can. Yeah.
So how far did you get, Alex?
God, I can't remember.
Like winter? Are you in winter now?
Yeah, I'm in winter.
'Cause
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm in winter.
Did you meet
That's-
Raymond yet?
You just hit the bong from memory.
Okay,
Oh, that scene. That's a great scene.
that's funny.
That's right.
The like water
Classic.
bong or whatever it's called, gravity
Yeah,
bong.
That was my roommate's. Yeah, my roommate's grav bong, and that's him in the movie too. I'm like, okay, Jason, you're just gonna explain what this is for this take, and then
Oh,
he
that's
did.
so
It
funny.
was fucking hilarious.
So
Yeah, he was awesome.
you made this when you were 18. You were not in film school yet. Like what?
I wrote it when right before I went to film school, and then the second I arrived in film school, I casted everybody and I got the crew, and we shot it over a year, because the movie takes place over a year, and I wanted to like capture that. Like you can see in the movie, like I lose weight,
Yeah.
Tori changes her nose ring, and like Devinder's hair changes. Devinder plays Kyle. Devinder Singh, and yeah, so I wanted to capture that.
Yeah.
And then we shot it over a year, and then we edited it and did the music and everything. And when I was 20, I finished it.
So are basically all the actors in it are people that you like connected with in film school? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
And like literally everybody that worked on it?
Yeah. Except Devinder Singh and Ardit and Chris, which were the three like guys Tori was with, in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only three I knew before film school.
Okay.
But that dude who played Raymond, like he had that Boston accent. I'm like, you're totally perfect for this character I am envisioning. And he's like, hi, I'm Cam. How you doing? I'm like, oh, you're fucking perfect.
Yeah, you could tell that it was shot over a year. Just I mean, there's like real weather in it. I didn't think you got like a snow machine or anything.
Oh, no.
Fuck for like 10 grand.
We can't afford that shit. Yeah, everyone just went out in the cold.
Yeah.
It was like The Revenant. That made me have real respect for like who's the guy who did The Revenant?
Leo?
Like he shot that whole movie in the fucking cold.
or,
Yeah, Leo and the director, I mean. Whoever the
Iñárritu?
director was. Iñárritu, that's it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for them shooting in the cold, because we shot in the cold for like 2 days and it was fucking awful.
Oh
It
man.
was horrible.
Yeah, I feel like that would be one of my strengths, is if I was making a movie and decided like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna film this in Edmonton or something like
everyone used to it, eh?
-40. We're doing it.
Yeah, you're used to the really cold
Suck
weather.
it up, actors.
I thought I'd be used to it. I mean, I'm from New York. New York's pretty cold, but I can't imagine how cold it is up there.
Oh man, yeah, I was born and raised in like northern Alberta, so I'm very much used to it. I did enjoy the film overall, with the information that this is made for $10,000 with film school connections by an 18 to 20-year-old person, and I thought that considering all that, it was good. But if
Thank you.
oh yeah, no, I mean it's something you should be proud of. It's something where you've created something and it's under your belt. You know, it's in your library, it's in your resume now, and it's experience too. There are individual, you know, shots and scenes that I like too. I thought that the shot of the cat with the window, I thought that looked really nice. The lighting was well done on that.
Was good.
But you didn't have any kind of like it was all pretty much like Dogma rules lighting, was it? Like, did you have any other lighting or?
No, I had lots of artificial lighting.
Okay. Because in some parts I couldn't really tell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we did our job. That's a nice thing to hear. Yeah,
Okay.
there's lots of artificial lighting. Except outside, obviously. Outside, we just went without it. Sometimes we had a diffuser, but that's it.
Mm-hmm. I do feel like the strongest aspects of the film were the editing choices and the soundtrack. I felt like the soundtrack was really well done, and I felt like a few of the editing choices, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, you know?
Mm-hmm. Do you have an example? I just love hearing.
Let me look at my. Oh yeah, the editing when you're listening through the door to her phone call. I thought that was kind of cool. How it was like it kind of helped the audience get into the head of the character, or I guess the perspective of the character listening through the door. I like the shot when you're picking up the sunglasses from the cup holder in the car. You can like see the reflection. I feel like glasses are a good way to get some cool shots in movies.
Yeah. A quick story about Elias Ortega, because he did the music. He's an excellent composer. I found him because he did like movie soundtracks for movies that already came out. He did like his versions of them. Like he did Nightcrawler. He made his own soundtrack for Nightcrawler. And I found him. He's in Panama. And I said, I'll give you money, because he didn't have a music software either to make this stuff. I don't know if I should say he had an illegal copy of the music software, but I don't know if I should say that. Let's just say maybe he did. And I said, okay, well, I'll buy you the software. I'll buy you the software, and you just do the soundtrack for me. And that was the deal we made. And he fucking did all the music.
Nice.
And he did an excellent job. We're really good friends now. He's doing music for me for something else also. And yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Super talented.
Yeah, I enjoyed the soundtrack. It was it didn't feel like it was really cheap or anything. Like it didn't feel like grandiose or like it was like a symphony orchestra, obviously.
Yeah,
but it
totally
felt like it was
fit
made by
the
one
tone of the
person,
movie.
but it didn't feel like it was a terrible person that made it
Garage
or anything.
band.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
complimented it.
generic cliche. Yeah. No violin sounds or any bullshit like that. Fuck that.
When we got that shot zooming out of your eye, was part of that digital, or was it just like a really cool lens that went really...
That was a camcorder, because the only way I could get that effect was with like a camcorder zooming out.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a 4K camcorder, which we used for that shot, and we used it also for... there's a shot where it's like a God, I don't know how to say it without spoiling it. There's a scene where it zooms out of like a tube.
Mm-hmm. I know what that is. Yeah.
Okay, like, that's what we used it for that also.
Okay, cool.
Like it's hard to say without spoiling it, but yeah, we used it for a few times for like weird shots that would be hard to get with a normal lens.
I guess I think the most effective and well done part of it, from my perspective, was a part that would be kind of a spoiler, I guess. Just it was over a short period of time and something happened. There was
Was
some
it toward
violence.
the end?
Yeah, it was towards the end.
Okay.
I thought that was well done.
Thank you.
But I think overall, the reason why I say considering all factors, like $10,000, you're very young, is because still it feels like I could watch it not knowing you and feel like it was a film made for really cheap by a young person with film school connections that were playing in the film. Like, it still very much felt like this is a product of somebody in film school.
Yeah, totally understand that.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's something there for sure, and I'm really excited to see you develop your skills more. I would like to see you work with like older actors too, because I feel like that's one way to kind of help like break that kind of vibe for a film. Like, get some people in there like
Everyone's
40s
very young
and
in it.
50s.
Yeah.
Like, do like a legit casting call, get like some crowdfunding and a bigger budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the only other like big issue I had with it was like a lot of the audio wasn't that well done. I feel like it was a little bit difficult to understand what some characters were saying in certain scenes. And I guess it could either be how it's recorded or edited or perhaps even performed. Like, I can't really pinpoint exactly why they were in certain scenes. Like, some of them you could hear too much of the room echo. Some of them it was like the white noise in the car was a bit too loud to be able to understand the characters properly. But like, that's all technical stuff, and like, it comes with the budget too. And it's something that you can, work out the kinks with the more that you do it.
Absolutely.
I've been saying
Thank
a
you.
lot. What do you have to say, Alex?
I agree with most of what you said. I kind of wanted to reel it back a little bit and ask like bare essential questions, like what camera did you shoot the film on?
Oh, Blackmagic cinema camera, 2.5K. We didn't need that 4K shit.
Because
Movie
it
looks
does
pretty
look
good,
very
even though
good. Yeah, it does look good. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
What Adam said about the audio, I guess. I feel like audio is a super underrated kind of difficult facet of filmmaking.
Incredibly
that we kind
difficult.
of take for granted, because sound, like, in some ways is almost more important than what you're seeing. And it really takes, seeing every type of quality on the spectrum to make you appreciate it. And then as I was watching, I was thinking about what actually is the process of, improving it or changing different ways of recording. And it's like all the Foley and everything. It's like a lot of stuff to juggle and manage. And I assume how much did you like edit? Did you share any of the load, or did you edit all the audio yourself?
I shared a lot of load with my friend Jacob, who's also like a sound guy, and him and I mostly did the sound. I had another friend of mine do some of the mixing, like very minimal. I had friends like look it over and tell me to lower this and change that. But like there's tons of sound work on the movie, tons. And
yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, you could tell, and even so, it's still not perfect. Like the amount of ADR and Foley and just sounds of like me moving in bed. There's like there's a scene where I'm like drinking root beer and I put that glass down. It's like 20 takes of us having to pick up a bottle and put it down, and we had to get different glasses because this one sounded too empty. We had to put different kinds of liquids in it because this one didn't sound like. It's fucking horrible. The sound. It's like it's so hard to get these to get the sound done in a movie.
Yeah, there's so much you have to balance with that. Yeah.
Right, and especially when the movie's so long. That's something you don't know going into it. Like, okay, so making a short is hard, but making a feature with like multiple scenes with all these different sounds is really, really difficult.
So this is this your only feature?
Yeah, and I didn't go into it thinking I wanted to make a feature. I just usually write a script and see what happens. And the original script is like really long. I think it was like 200 pages, and I shortened it and I kept shortening it. And I'm like, okay, I want to tell this story. I'm 18. When else am I going to get to tell it, right? So I made it, and I used what minimal resources I had to my advantage. And I see the flaws in it, but like, I'm really proud of it. We're all really proud of it.
How much did you have to adjust once you'd written it, and then were trying to make it a reality in terms of like, well, I did want to do this thing, but making it a reality, I'm going to have to, maybe change this and that, this detail here, or, that kind of thing?
Actually, not a lot, because I write with that in mind, knowing that it's like there's some shit that's just not going to do. So keep the locations to a minimum, keep the amount of characters to a minimum. There's originally a few more characters in like the first 2 drafts of it, but then I shortened the amount of characters down more and more and more. There was a whole subplot with like where she goes to like a trap house or something. I cut that out of the original script. There's just little things you trim out. But overall, once I had the final draft, I'm like, I could totally manage to make a movie like this.
And how did the shooting go in terms of like when you got to the editing bay? Were you like, oh no, I'm missing like a shot here that would be perfect? Or, did you have to do any pickups or anything like that?
Yeah, you have to do a few pickups. I'm trying to think of a few. There was one scene, there's a scene where a few guys break into my apartment. I guess that's not spoiling that much. Like that was something I did later because the story needed it needed a beat there. It needed like something exciting to happen. So I'm like, okay, let's add that in. And then there's a few shots we had to redo of like me driving in the car. But, nothing that crazy. We had to keep track of it and we had to shoot it in order. So there's very little room to do a lot of reshoots. Because it's like I'm losing weight as it goes along. Tori's changing her nose ring. Like I got to keep it pretty consistent.
What's like an issue or a problem that came up that you were not expecting during the making of the film?
Oh, there's tons. There's always tons. Usually it's people not being able to show up.
Yep.
Really?
That's the biggest
Just
issue with all
organizing
these
people,
things.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because you're not paying. All of us were students, so none of us were getting paid anything. We all did it for the love of it, because we wanted to. And also finding locations is very hard because people often cancel locations on you. You have a set for this diner and then they're like, oh, fuck you can't film here because something else is happening. They're having a party that went on for too long. So you're like, oh, okay, so we gotta get everybody and we gotta move them to somewhere else and shoot here. And that's just something I'm used to dealing with at this point. And you learn from it.
Well, yeah, especially having like no money. It's like you don't really have a lot of persuasion when it comes to that for business.
Because a lot of these people are doing it to be nice. They're like, oh, it's a film school kid. Emerson's a well-known film school around Boston. So they're like, oh, it's an Emerson kid. He'll film here. We get some publicity for the restaurant. And then like the day of, they're like, no, you can't. So you got to work something else out. Lame. And then you got to take all the people and you got to delay the shoot by 2 hours. And yeah, but those things are always going to happen. It's just rough, but you deal with it and you move on.
Yeah, I did feel watching it that I would like to see you tackle some more like interesting kind of location scouting for some of the scenes. Like the closer to the beginning, it was, kind of just like a residential neighborhood that, felt like it could have just been any suburban residential neighborhood. I was like, I guess, like part of that's kind of like the point of where she is, but at the same time, I was like, I could use some more interesting locations, but I totally understand the limitations that come with having no money, right? So,
right, that's exactly it.
That is something that I'd like to see improved and see more of with whatever project you tackle next. And I feel like asking you what would you like to see improved? Like, I mean, you'll probably think like everything, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, now I know so much more than I did when I was 18. Like, if I made this movie now, I'd do some things differently. But now I know a lot more talented people, and that's the thing. When you're making a movie when you're 18, it's hard to trust anybody with like major important parts, like the director of photography. Like, I was the director of photography on it, because who the fuck am I going to get to trust with something that important? So with something as important as the look of the movie, and to nail that like cold look I wanted, and that noirish kind of look, but also digital looking at the same time to kind of reflect the themes of social media and texting, whatever. Now I know people who are talented DPs and talented lighting people, and I would just have them do it now. That's the most important thing, is that you get to know people and you get to trust them enough to give them that kind of clout on a project. Like Tori, who was the actress in it, from the second I saw her headshot, I totally knew that she was going to play Delilah. We'll say her name's Delilah. 'Cause but like I trusted her completely with it because I knew she was talented. And it's hard to find people like that.
Yep.
Especially being so young and having no money.
Yeah, and especially not, being in LA or something.
Yeah, especially not. There's not a lot of talented film people in Boston. Hate to break it to you, Boston.
Yeah.
It's hard as hell to find really good people. Because you can find pros in LA. Like, if you have money, and the thing is now I have the kind of... Lover did very well financially. So I could... Yeah, that is very good. I could get professionals to do sound and lighting and all that stuff next time. Thank God.
Yeah.
Which would be great.
Yeah.
But like when you're 18, the only guys you can get are your friends and people in film school. And a lot of them are very talented, but a lot of them also aren't. And a lot of them will fuck up. I knew people who have made films and they have students do the sound, and then they bring the sound recorder to the hub where they put all the equipment, the EDC. That's what it's called. And then the EDC deleted all the audio from the sound recorder. So they had to ADR everything.
Oh, no.
And the movie sucked. Even though it was beautifully shot and the acting was amazing, none of the sound was there. So they had to do it all afterward.
Lame.
And it's really fake.
Wow.
Yeah, it is lame. But that kind of shit happens when you're making these movies. And so you have to be organized and you have to be on top of everything. And that's why it's hard to trust people with that kind of stuff unless you're a professional.
Exactly.
It's very difficult.
It's part of the reason why I'm such a control freak. I don't trust people to do anything right.
Yeah.
I've seen it
I don't
fucked up
blame
so
you.
many times,
But if you get pros, like you get some fucking sound guy who's been doing it for 20 years, which I knew people like that too. They have all students on the set except the sound guy. Because the sound guy, you need a fucking good sound guy.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah, and when you get
Because
somebody
that's
who's
probably
professional,
the most important thing.
that's somebody who you can learn from too.
Yeah, exactly. And also a sound guy you have to pay. Because the thing with a DP is, I'll work for free because I could put it on my reel and it'll look nice. A sound guy doesn't have any of that shit. He doesn't have a reel.
Yeah.
He's just the sound guy.
Yeah, true.
So you pay him a lot of money and he does a good job. That's what you need.
Yeah, you were talking about sound being one of the most important aspects of a film, and I completely agree, because when it's done very well, you don't notice it. Like you notice it when there's something wrong with it. It's just one of those aspects of a film where it's like, okay, you're doing your job perfect, and no one will notice.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah,
That's what's
sound
very
is very
sad about it.
difficult. You have to be really
And these guys
creative
work
with
really
it, too.
hard. They work so hard to get these sounds, these Foley sounds out. They have to be really creative. And then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, okay, you put the cup down, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, it's rough.
When did you make the decision to? Because I don't remember from the way old trailers it being in black and white.
Originally a third of the movie was black and white.
Okay.
And I changed it based on the season, but that was something like a 18-year-old pretentious film student would come up with. And once I got to like watching the movie like that, I'm like, this is really distracting. It's constantly changing the color correction. And I decided to make it all black and white. And it totally fit the movie way more to be all black and white. It fit that noirish kind of tone I was going for way more. It's also kind of represents those old movies that Howard was watching on the TV, like those like those romantic, silly movies where everyone has the corny dialogue and whatever.
Yeah.
Like it fit that way better. So I decided to make the whole thing black and white. Basically, I don't want to say last minute, but a few months before the final cut, I decided that. Right. Yeah, that's a normal thing. People change shit like that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I noticed you released the drones.
I love my drone. I love my drone.
Is that the same drone that you like posted a video on Twitter of? Like,
yeah,
that would have been a long time ago now.
I got it. I got it for Christmas, and I'm like, all right, I got to use this shit and love her. And the drone shots are pretty cool in it.
Yeah, the aerial shot where it's kind of following the car.
Yeah.
Was really cool. Yeah.
Thanks. I may have used it too much, but you know what? It's pretty cool. I probably won't use it again. Or if I do, I'll use it sparingly, like maybe 1 or 2 shots.
Well, it's like on the budget, how are you supposed to get big sweeping establishing shots if that's what you want without a drone? You're not going to run a helicopter.
Buy a crane.
Yeah.
That shit's hard. A crane.
What? You're not best friends with a millionaire? Who are you?
The black and white kind of hid the drone shots too, because the thing with drone shots, it's always really obvious in a movie when it's a drone. Like you're like, oh, they got some fucking drone to get that shot. But I think the black and white kind of made it blend better with the black magic footage, and it kind of gave it a feel that wasn't as like digital feeling. So I think
how did you find staying in budget? Was that a challenge, or were you very organized in that respect?
Oh, I'm very organized with everything. I wrote down everything before, but what you realize very quick is that $10,000 is nothing.
Yeah,
and
literally.
You're like, okay, renting lenses, and then that's like thousands of dollars. And then you're like, okay, food, transportation. I gotta get hotels for people, and then that's like, okay, 80% of the budget's gone. You're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
What the so you gotta find a way. Okay, I have a friend who lives here, so I gotta get this actress into this guy's house so they can stay together, and I gotta make sure it's okay with him, and I gotta get all kinds of coupons, and I gotta call Chipotle and be like, this is a female empowerment movie, so could you give us free food? And that didn't happen on my set. That happened on another set we were on.
That sounds hilarious.
Yeah, I was on this friend's set, and the director was she's a very talented girl, Morgan.
Yeah.
And the producer's like, this is like a female-driven, female-directed film. Could we get some free burritos? And then Chipotle's like, of course. And they gave us like $200 to free burritos.
That's hilarious.
But that's the kind of hustling. That's the kind of hustling you got to do if you want this shit done. You got to save fucking money. Because every actor and all the crew, they didn't take any money from me because they wanted all that money to go into the movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, it is. It's all there. All the lenses and everything. It's hard as fuck.
And now, with whatever next project you make, you fully understand exactly what to expect, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be more prepared. You'll have better ideas, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'll have more people around, because this is, I mean, it's proved to a lot of people that I'm capable of doing some cool stuff. I just need more money and time and creative people working with me, and I already have other people that are willing to work with me now. Thank God.
That's great. That's good.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna make something awesome next. So
yeah, I'm excited to see what you do.
To it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy you guys enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy a lot of people enjoyed it. Because it's been pretty well received overall. I'm very happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you made something. You should be proud of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
You made a movie, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You're Ralph the Movie Maker.
That's
You're
right.
Ralph the Lover Maker.
They don't call me that for nothing. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I guess, did we want to... is there anything else we wanted to say about this?
Where can people find Lover if they want to...
Oh, well, it'll be on Amazon by the time this is up. And you can also find it at loverthemovie.com. And it's also on Vimeo. You just look up Lover, and it should show right up.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
It's creepy and weird, and it ain't perfect, but it's pretty interesting. And we're all very proud of it. So check it out.
Nice.
Got him.
Nice. Got him.
Gotti.
Gotti. Yeah, speaking of masterpieces, fucking Gotti.
Yeah.
I was just happy I didn't make anything like that.
You made a film better than Gotti.
Yeah, that's true. I've known a lot of kids in film school who have way more money than me, and they make a short, and it's like Gotti level. Like, it's just fucking awful. And I'm like, wow, that's unreal how you had all those resources and you just made shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to name names, but like some of these kids get like Oscar caliber actors to be in their
Oh, really?
movies. And then you see them, they deliver this fucking awful dialogue that this kid wrote. And it's like, oh no. You had all this and you blew it. Whatever.
No.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I'll talk with you more about this later, Ralph, too.
Cool. Oh, great. Yeah, you'll probably have some more critiques, I bet.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I'm a nitpicky
yeah,
boy.
It's totally cool. Nitpicky. Yeah. Some of it, too, is like, because some people were confused on certain parts, and some of it I understand, but some of it's literally like, if you pay attention more, you'll get it. Like, there's so many things that are either in the background or just require a second viewing to fully get.
Mhm.
But, yeah. I get it. Very happy.
We all saw the new Spider-Boy into the...
Way better than Lover. So much better.
I don't know. Are we going to compare every movie?
Yeah. Amadeus, so much better than Lover.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the new Spider-Man into the Spiderverse film?
Best Spider-Man movie
Absolutely.
by far.
Oh, wow. Really?
By far.
Best superhero movie I've seen in a long time. to be
Oh, wow.
honest.
I just
Yeah.
released my quickie last night. I don't know if you guys watched it.
I haven't had a chance to.
Did you give it a
watch
6
it.
out of 10?
I did.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Fucker.
Hey.
What's wrong with you?
Everybody, you know,
have
it's
a
so
different
funny.
opinion?
Like the all the top comments are like, "What? 6 out of 10?" But that's the same rating he gave Black Panther. But it's like I gave Black Panther a 5. Everybody's mad. Like I don't think anybody's really mad about like the content of what I said in my review, but they're mad that I gave it a 6.
Yeah.
So people are really doing the comparison argument. You gave this a this, but you gave that a this.
Yeah, and
If
I mean,
you make
I should
that
expect
argument,
it,
you're a fucking idiot. Every movie is different, and it should be judged on its own merits. And fuck you if you use that. You're an idiot.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, it's to me, it's closer to a 7 than a 5. That's for sure. Like, it's either a 6 or a
Yeah.
7. But I feel like just my own personal experience with it. I feel like if I did give it a 7, which you know, it's closer to than a 5. I feel like it would become one of those movies where it's like a year later, I'd be like, it's probably a 6. Like, there's not that much that's like beckoning me back to watching it a second time. I feel like I got
Okay.
what I wanted to out of it.
Well, let's
and
start with the
just
negatives
leaving
then.
it at that.
Yeah.
What'd you think was wrong with it?
Well, I did really like the animation style and the concept, but I found that overall it was just kind of dressing up a kind of plot and sequence of events that was more or less kind of bland. I know you guys will probably disagree, but I felt like story-wise, like if you eliminate the concept, it was just like, you know, like kind of predictable. And yeah, I get it. Like it's supposed to be like a comic book, so what more can you really expect from it? But I wasn't nearly as invested in the film as, you know, something like the Lego Movie or even the first 2 Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
You
We're
thought
gonna
those were better?
we seriously have to go back to those original
Yeah.
Spider-Mans and still
Yeah, we
see
gotta
if
do that.
Feel the same.
We got to do that.
Alex,
like-
I rewatched some of the old Spider-Mans just to get my fill on it. Like, do I kind of remember them? Not like, so I watched them and yeah, they're definitely dated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this
it
might
just
be
captures-
dated in 10 years, but I mean, right now, it's pretty exhilarating.
I
and
don't know
original.
how it's so stylized. I'm not sure how it could ever look bad. You know?
Oh
Like,
yeah, I mean
that style of animation
stylization-wise, it's
will not
great.
age. Yeah, exactly. Whereas like
Movies are gorgeous.
what was the last Spider-Man movie? The one with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
What was it
so
called?
that had some
Homecoming.
pretty bad
Homecoming.
CGI.
My biggest issue with that movie is how visually bland it was. I quite liked
Mm-hmm.
the actual story and all
Yeah.
the acting and everything around it, but it was a very bland movie.
Yeah, it was really boringly shot for the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Whereas in Into the Spider-Verse, it's so visually interesting the entire time, and the techniques they use are so unique, especially considering this is Sony. You know, like
Yeah, that was the most
right after
shocking thing.
Venom. Right after Venom, like, it's amazing that they greenlit this. Like, okay, let's get this good script, and then put a team of animators who are allowed to fully express themselves and try something new and not
Yeah.
been done before. It's
And
crazy.
they were creative. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like they did something new with Spider-Man that was actually funny and original and unique in every way, and it wasn't fucking boring, dark, bland Mark Webb Spider-Man. And even that Spider-Man video game, like I still get shit for skipping those cutscenes,
Yeah,
but
you do.
I mean it's bland Spider-Man. It's Doc Ock in the lab again. Aunt May's at a what is she, a soup kitchen? Like fucking okay, I've seen this before. Whatever. This was so awesome and totally its own thing. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before, especially from a Spider-Man movie. It reminded me a lot of Scott Pilgrim, just that energy and the comic
Energy's a
book
good word.
feel it had. I loved it, and it was fucking hilarious on top of everything.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. That was one of my biggest concerns, was the humor and the whole gimmick of the different Spider-Men from the different Spider universes. I was a bit worried that like the anime-looking one and the pig one would feel really weird and out of place, but they make it work because they all fit into that central sort of character theme, and they've all got like the same backstory. And the whole point of the movie is about becoming Spider-Man, and that it doesn't have to be rooted within one person. So I thought in that aspect, it was just a really solid script. I think the Phil Lord is the kind of glue that held the film together. On top
absolutely.
of the pretty cherry on top that is the animation, and that I really really like the character designs. I feel like a lot of CG animated movies have really either mediocre, bland, or just straight up bad character designs. Illumination. But I really liked like the Kingpin. He was this huge like rectangle, pretty much with just a head in the middle. And
Some
like,
shots he just take up the whole frame.
Yeah, exactly. They're really creative with how they use the characters with things like that. Yeah, and there were spins on classic characters as well that I won't spoil. Yeah, it was just really entertaining the whole way through.
I found like the most entertaining aspects of it myself personally were the action scenes. I felt like those were really well done. Like the whole the train thing, I was like, yeah, that's funny. Like the unconscious Spider-Man, and won't really spoil
Really
too much,
creative.
but I humor wise, like I had some laughs. I had some laughs for sure. I didn't find it to be like hilarious throughout. I was not a fan of Peter Porker. Not a fan of the Spider Pig. The humor did not click with me. Yeah. I was like,
I don't know why. That's the one I would normally be like, I really don't like that. But for some reason, and he's voiced by someone from Big Mouth as well.
Yeah.
Which I notoriously really do not like, but I found him really funny. I don't know why. It was like really simple.
I did too.
Like,
Because I felt like
nods
it was
at
so
2D
out of
animation.
place. It was just so like, what the fuck? And that made me laugh.
I felt like the entire, shock value of like, haha, he doesn't belong here was something that I got from the trailer, and then that was about it. Like once I saw the actual movie, I was like, well, this is still the same thing.
Yeah, see, I didn't see any of the trailers. I don't really watch these trailers. I knew he was in
didn't see
it.
him
I knew
either.
there was
Yeah, I
like
knew
a
he was in
Spider
it.
Pig. I didn't know Noir Spider-Man was in it, played by Nicolas Cage, and that was a nice surprise.
I liked him.
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
I
it was
did.
awesome.
Yeah.
I loved him.
There's a lot to appreciate about the movie. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. Like overall, I really enjoyed the soundtrack. There were some good songs, but there were two moments in the film where there were some really serious implications. There were some tragedies, and they do the like I'm sad sort of montage thing, and the music choices in those scenes. One of them was like a Lil Wayne song. It was like I'm not scared of the dark, and I was like, man, I really want to feel the emotion of the character right now, but like the soundtrack just couldn't decide between like, are we sad right now, or are we also trying to be like really cool and have, like a soundtrack with a nice beat, something like pop music for the kids sort of thing. I just found that like a little bit conflicting, and I wasn't really able to properly experience the emotions that I wanted to at those moments. I don't know if you guys agree with me
You
at all.
took the
on
words right out of my mouth.
Yeah,
Those
I
were
was
my
gonna say
only
the
two
exact same
complaints
thing.
with the movie. Were those two moments where they used that music, and I'm like, this totally doesn't fit, and it
was
took me out of the
cheesy.
moment.
Super
If those two
cheesy.
moments were in the movie, I think it'd be a fucking perfect movie. Honestly, I really don't have any other complaints with it, especially for what it is. But yeah, I totally agree with you.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, no, I felt the same thing. It's the first thing I said when I walked out to my friend.
Yeah.
Only thing I didn't like was the music choices sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole time I was thinking 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and then there was that one moment I'm like, no, don't blow it. And then the movie got back on track, and then it almost killed it at another moment. But
Yeah, and I guess someone's overall experience is going to be dictated just by how much each of those individual aspects are weighted. Because I do feel like, even though it's like, yeah, it's just a song choice, and yeah, it happens twice, and it's not the whole movie, the overall tone winds up shifting for my experience in a way where it's like, like cheesy, like, uncomfortable. Like, I was kind of cringing at those moments,
Yeah. But I mean, the characters themselves, what they did with Miles Morales, I thought he was excellent. I love what they did with Peter Parker, how he comes back and he's like this 40-year-old schlubby guy who's had like a rough life, and his life is kind of falling apart. Like they took all these Spider-Man elements, and instead of just doing nothing with them and being unoriginal and just pandering to nostalgia, they actually took them in new directions and did something genuinely creative with it.
Yeah.
I
And it was in
commend
a
them
way
for
to
that.
not annoy like Spider-Man fans who are looking
Yeah.
for a certain type of character and a certain type of story. It still fits within what Spider-Man represents while offering something fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they got right, is that no matter what they were doing, no matter what crazy bullshit they were doing, they had an understanding of the character of Spider-Man, and that, the great power with great responsibility, all that bullshit. They totally understood what made him tick. They captured that, like, he gets beaten down by everyone and everything in his life, but at the end of the day, he stands up and he just powers through it. They totally captured that well, too. In a way that wasn't like literally taken from a comic book, like Homecoming was, where he gets crushed by debris.
Yeah.
And he has to like get up. Like, all right.
Yeah.
I thought the
I guess
humor
it's fine.
helped sort of solidify that kind of tone as well, because it was able to poke fun at Spider-Man over the years. Like, do you remember in, what was it, the Lego Batman movie? It's kind of like a love letter to the character in a lot of ways. I think this film's a lot better than the Lego Batman movie, but it reminded me in that kind of way, where they were able to poke fun and homage like classic Spider-Man stories and characters, but
Right.
offer a fresh.
The thing
kind
with
of
that
take.
Lego Batman movie though is like if you don't know Batman that well, I don't think there's much to get out of it aside
That's
from
what I mean, yeah.
like just spectacle. And I think
yeah.
even in this movie, if you don't know anything about Spider-Man, you'd still really enjoy it, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the writing for the humor is a lot better in
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Verse than in Lego Batman. It was way too
It didn't
sort of
rely
kiddie.
on references as much. Like they were there, but it was very brief. Most
And
of
when
them.
it did reference, it was usually internally within the sort of Spider-Man universe as well. They broke the fourth wall once, and I thought it was genuinely kind of funny, which is normally one of my pet peeves with a lot of like modern comedy writing. It's kind of like a crutch a lot of people are falling into now, where it's just break the fourth wall, Deadpool style. They're all doing it now.
Right.
So I was very glad then it wasn't like fucking Deadpool.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it overall. I just, the moments in the film where it was attempting a more serious tone, of which there are a few of those. Those were the parts that kind of, just had me kind of not really interested. I felt like the stylization obviously helped a lot, made it really upbeat, really fun to watch. But I feel like there was a period in time where maybe I don't know, lost a bit of interest, but it almost felt like the stylization just wasn't as present in kind of like the transition between second and third act, where things were supposed to be like really serious, and they, just kind of didn't really focus on the stylization as much. I don't know if you guys felt that
I
way.
like that. Because then that would be distracting. Like, the stylization's great to get you into the story and everything in that first act, but once it starts getting to the more serious stuff, it didn't really need that, I feel.
Yeah.
And plus, I love that the movie actually, I mean, it's an animated movie and it's clearly for kids, but the movie actually had stakes. It had fucking guns and death and, like, characters die, and you're like, oh, maybe they'll come back because, there's multiverses and whatever, and then no, they don't. They're just dead. Fucking deal with it. And that was cool, too.
I felt, I don't want to spoil anything, but I felt like the death that on the rooftop was a little cheesy for me. I wasn't really able to take that as seriously. The guy like warped out of his car in 2 seconds and was like right there. I was like,
The animation logic made me forgive it. Like, it's all very exaggerated.
Yeah.
If it was like a live action movie, then I'd be like, how the fuck did that happen? But
Yeah, I
I
guess
didn't really
so.
care. I mean, how would that character even fit in that car if you were thinking about it?
No,
'Cause that, you know,
I
he's
get
fucking
that,
huge.
but when the tone shifts into like you're taking it seriously now, and it's no longer for the moment or for however long they decide, it's like, oh, this is not this is no longer a kind of like ironic, kind of fun, quirky, stylized thing. Then in those moments where it is saying, hey, you need to take this seriously, then it is kind of more of an issue for me.
Okay, I could see that.
I just appreciated how everything fed into every character's like journey and arc. There wasn't a lot of wasted space. Like, I just saw Aquaman the other day.
Nice.
Oh,
There
boy.
are whole scenes you can just rip out of that film and it wouldn't make a lick of goddamn difference. But
Was it good?
Yeah.
no, it's pretty entertaining though. If you've got like 2.5 hours to fucking spare, it is long.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
But yeah, super long. I couldn't believe how long that film was.
Holy shit!
Because it
2.5
comes out when I'm
hours.
like away visiting my family for Christmas, and I'm gonna have to like convince
Oh
them
my
to watch
God.
it or something.
Oh,
Yeah. The UK gets no films except superhero films really early. So
Jesus Christ!
great.
I can't watch that trailer. That trailer gave me a headache after a minute. I can't imagine sitting there for fucking 2.5 hours, plus all the trailers and shit.
Oh man.
So
Well,
you were in
I'm
there for
excited
3
to see
hours
it,
watching
so-
Aquaman. Oh my god, that sounds horrific.
It's I have some opinions on it that I know will piss people off, but
Great.
yeah,
Well,
I guess I'll save it.
yeah.
for
Well,
another time.
I'll have seen it by
Yeah.
the next episode anyway. We can talk about it then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll try to see it. I'll see if I can sit through it. Maybe there's like a torrent of it somewhere.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's boring. Is the thing.
Oh,
I was
okay.
never bored. I
Alright.
was crying when I left the theater, though. Like crying with laughter, because I was the only one that was finding it funny. And as I
Nice.
was leaving, like I just heard someone behind me go, "That was really cool. That was really nice. I like that." And I couldn't hold it, and tears were streaming down my face, and I just had to run back to my car.
Oh
That's
my
awesome.
god.
So I guess.
Spider-Man.
Well, yeah. I mean, we can move along if we want. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say about Spider Boy?
No, not really. You should all go see it. I'm biased.
I would
I'm a
recommend it,
Spider-Man
for
fan.
sure.
I've always been a fan of Spider-Man. That's why I'm like giving it a perfect score. Like,
Yeah,
I
he's
think
my
if you're
favorite
a
hero,
fan
man.
of
He's
Spider-Man,
I've always been a fan of Spider-Man too.
well then why didn't you give it a 10 out of 10? You gave Black Panther a 6 out of 10.
That's super. What about you,
Best
Alex?
Spider-Man
Gave
film.
this a 6 out of 10.
Best Spider-Man film. Spider-Man fans will love it. Fans of animation will love it. Fans of superhero movies will love it. Fans of Venom will love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I think
cracker.
anyone would love it. Honestly,
And yeah, I just want to shout out the animators. Like, what's the last project they would have worked on? The Emoji Movie, probably, and and they got absolutely slammed for that. And now they get this critically acclaimed darling of a movie. And I'm sure they're very happy about that.
Nice.
So, congratulations to them.
don't watch this movie if you have epilepsy.
Yeah,
I'd say that.
don't. Or Aquaman.
Yeah.
I was wondering that during the Spider-Man movie because they usually put warnings if a movie has lots of quick cutting and crazy shit like this movie was doing. I was wondering if people are going to start suing.
It wasn't nearly as bad as that Incredibles 2 scene though. Like that was a
Oh yeah,
true,
that's
yeah.
that was a real epilepsy trigger right there.
yeah, but that's one scene. Like this whole fucking movie from the get-go is like
It's very
It's
colorful
half-second
and
shots.
fast paced, but it's not. It's not like a strobe light flashing super fast or anything,
yeah,
which was
I
literally Incredibles 2 for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would you rate it, Alex?
I gave it a 4, but I really want to see it again, which is rare for these big blockbuster superhero movies. I don't
Me
normally
too.
want to rush back and see them, but I can't wait to see it again.
I want to see it in the theater again. The sound was excellent too. Just to add, I loved all these techno, like dubsteppy noises that actually fit the movie, It had like this crazy, it sounded like the Crank score or something. It's like all these rock fucking, like just weird sounds going on in the background that I loved. Really well done.
Yeah. It was good. I would recommend it. 6 out of 10. Get mad.
Yeah, 6 out of 10 is a good score.
It is good. It's literally a good movie.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what people expect. You said it's a good movie. 6 out of 10 is a good score.
Yeah. Who knows?
People are
Maybe I'll
fucking
give it a
dicks.
7 later, but I don't think I will. I think it'll stay at a 6. I guess we're gonna go into the movie recommendation. Would you like to introduce it? Ralph?
Spoiler. We're gonna talk about. Oh God, let me pull it up here. The movie is Amadeus from 1984. It's directed by Milos Forman. It's about the young composer Amadeus Mozart, as told by his friend Antonio Salieri Maron. And it's just about their life and how Antonio's jealous of Mozart and how Mozart's a child prodigy, but he's also an alcoholic and he has his own problems going on. It's 3 hours long. It's epic. And it's a great, great movie. What did you guys think of Amadeus?
I greatly enjoyed it. I do have a couple of issues with it, which I'm sure we'll get into in a sec. But Adam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it also. I thought that it was a very interesting, very engaging story, and especially for the fact that, you know, it wasn't like a big spectacle of things blowing up and constant like betrayal and blah, blah, blah. But there were a lot of interesting things happening. And for a 3-hour-long movie, it's like I didn't really feel the runtime at all. It was all really interesting and engaging and really great characters and performance. And there's a lot of technical things to appreciate it. Apparently, this film has been viewed by a bunch of music professors that claim that there's not a single note that is being misplayed for the film, meaning what the character is playing on the harpsichord or piano or violin or anything is all completely accurate for what you're hearing, which I found to be super cool. And I noticed that it was like incredibly accurate watching it myself, but hearing that like scholars and professors have said that it's literally perfect, it's like, wow, I can't think of any other movie that does that.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
The attention to detail is in every facet of the film, from down to the costumes, the sets, the mise en scene. It's very true to what it's trying to portray, you know, with the makeup as well is very good. Every technical element and every visual element is very, very solid.
I read that some of the operas that were performed were actually on location where they were originally performed, which I find to be super cool. Yeah, apparently they built very few sets for the film, and most of it was like just finding real locations, and a lot of them were things that they could actually use. I really appreciated how they're getting really technical with the music and conversation when they're in the dictation scene where they're writing it down. They're using a lot of
I love that
terminology
That was my favorite scene.
that could potentially alienate audience members that don't really understand music, but it doesn't really do it a disservice. Like, you don't have to understand exactly what they mean.
The performances really sell it. You can tell the passion. There's something Aaron Sorkin said once, like, when you have a character who's an expert in what they're talking about, just have him say a bunch of shit that the audience won't understand, and the audience will just go, oh, so he clearly knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what this movie does. Yeah, because especially me not being a music guy, you're totally like, oh, these guys, they know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, you can't dumb it down because they wouldn't.
Legends, wasn't it, at work? Yeah,
like two composers talking to each other, trying to dictate a piece of music. They're not going to be like, oh, they're not going to pull a like Casino Royale and explain how the card game works to the audience.
Or like a Chris Nolan and explain a quantum physics or black holes to another scientist.
They're not all of a sudden just going to be like, oh yeah, pianissimo means very soft.
Yeah, they don't dumb it down at all. And that's not really even what the movie's about. I mean, obviously it's about music, but it's about the characters and their struggle and jealousy. I loved the performance by the guy who played Amadeus Mozart. I'm trying to remember his
That
name.
laugh.
Tom Holtze. Yeah, he had an amazing laugh. But apparently Mozart had a laugh like that. He was like this fucking juvenile, like if you just met him, you'd think, wow, this guy's like the biggest idiot.
Yeah.
Which they introduced very early on. And then he just can shit out these amazing symphonies. There's a scene where like Antonio gives him his sheet music and then Mozart plays. He's like, you know what? I can make this even better. And he just comes up with this much better version that everyone listens to. I looked up some Mozart songs. He has songs like Lick mich am Arsch, which translates to lick my ass. And I'm trying to find a few other ones. Yeah, so he would just always come up with these symphonies. Yeah, this one's Stick Your Ass to Your Mouth. It's just all these ridiculous symphonies he'd come up with that were juvenile, and he was a very just immature bastard, but he was a really talented guy, and that's what made him so fascinating. Because you have this other character who's very mannered and respectful, and he's been studying music for years, and he's really passionate about it, and he's just not good. He's just not as good as Amadeus, and he never will be. And that fucking makes him furious, and I love that dynamic. It was so interesting.
Yeah, I liked so much that the movie didn't have Mozart as the sort of central anchored character, you know, and it was more from Salieri's perspective, and that dynamic is the most interesting part of the movie.
Yeah,
and the way they sort of have what the other one wants or should have, you know, where one of them has the hubris and is over the top and eccentric, and the other one is reserved but doesn't have the talent, and he's sort of fueled by jealousy and he's really manipulative and quiet. I thought that was my favorite thing about the film for sure.
I love that you follow him. Like Antonio is so much more grounded than Mozart is, and like having Mozart be the main character, it might have worked, but it's also he's so larger than life that I don't know if an audience would have identified with him as much as Antonio.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great decision. And it's a decision I've never really seen done in any other movie. Usually you make a biopic about a guy, you make it about the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it to be a much more interesting perspective to show. It really helped the movie work and flow together well. I really enjoyed his constant blaming of God, you know, like that there's no cosmic justice in the world, where he feels as though he deserves all of the respect and recognition and fame and cultural importance as Mozart, and that he doesn't deserve it, that he's more or less just like born with this magical talent and ability. And he's, you know, the main character has been struggling his whole life, trying as hard as he can to achieve that, but can't. And so he's just he's filled with all of this rage against the universe or God because of this. And I found that really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you never got the sense that he was lazy or he didn't deserve it, because he did work very hard. And I related to him a lot. But he just didn't have it. He didn't have it like Mozart did, this fucking idiot who comes in and he's like, this fucking guy, he's brilliant. How is this fucking guy better than me?
So how much creative liberties do you think the film took story-wise? Is my question. Yeah.
Many.
I
I don't even think Antonio's a real person. I don't even think it's a real character. I think they just made him up. I think so.
Is he?
It could be.
We should have looked this up before.
Yeah, maybe I'll look it up now. But I remember reading somewhere like 2 years ago. I didn't do a lot of research. I've just seen the movie many times. But I don't think he's a real guy. Or if he is a real guy, it's very loosely based on him.
It's based on a play, isn't it? Like someone's written a stage play.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's based on a stage play.
Yeah, Antonio Salieri is a real composer. My friend was saying that apparently he was like good friends with Mozart, and that there wasn't really this sort of constant hatred and animosity towards him, and that people shouldn't really take it as a documentary.
Oh.
I didn't do the research for myself, though. So
No, I didn't do any research either.
Oops.
Apparently, you're right, Alex. There was Alexander Pushkin wrote a play about it. Mozart and Salieri, 1831.
Yeah.
So maybe.
I
Fuck if
didn't.
I
I
know.
saw it. I saw
an
it
idiot.
more as like a drama first before being like a biopic.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seemed to me how every character and all the themes were relaying back into the central idea of religion and not being able to accept when you've sort of been beat in terms of your what you're capable of, because that's the only reason this main character is drawn to doing what he does, because he's just obsessed with someone who's better than him at something, and he just can't accept the fact that there is someone else out there who is better than him, which is something that people just have to get over in everyday life,
Yeah.
Like there are always going to be people better than you, and if you constantly obsess over people that are succeeding over you in something that you're passionate about, you're never going to get anywhere, and you're going to have a miserable life like this main character ends up having. He goes to his grave, presumably. You see him as an old, decrepit man, still obsessing over this one guy who's left a history, whereas he's nothing.
And also, Mozart has his own issues too. He has a fucked up life. So it's like you're aspiring to be this other person, and this other person has an awful life too.
Yeah.
Like, it won't bring you any happiness, even if you had all the talent. I mean, there's even points where he takes Mozart's music, and it's like, okay, well, that didn't bring you anything either.
Yeah.
It's that grass is always greener idea. It's like you think that's what you want until you actually have it in your hands. You'll just never be happy if you never accept the fact.
Yeah. You just need to be happy with yourself and your own talent.
What I really love about how his character is presented is that you'd often see a character where it's like they're jealous of this guy and they feel like they deserve it, and a lot of the times it would present itself in a really black and white kind of way, but I really enjoy that it's incredibly apparent and very well communicated that he loves and appreciates Mozart's compositions, and I love the dialogue where he's essentially explaining to the audience, giving more perspective on each of the opera pieces that he's watching being performed, and saying how like this one was the darkest one after his father died, and this is the emotional toll that was placed on Mozart, and this is how it shows through his work. I really loved that this character was aware of that and understood and appreciated all of that. Like, the guy clearly adored his compositions, and that's part of where his rage came from.
Yeah, is that he loved him as an artist, but didn't like him as a person.
Yeah. No, it is what makes the film work. I think that perspective is much more relatable than a Mozart who is almost like a natural born prodigy genius. Yeah, it's way more relatable to relate to the person who's jealous of it. Who's a more grounded, regular person who's just done everything right by his own mind, and is just facing this internal conflict that you just can't get over.
It's easy to imagine like the Oscar bait boring biopic version of this, where like, oh, you start with him being young, and he had a rough childhood because he was always playing piano, but man, people really respected him when he grew up, and then he falls apart at the end. It's like, oh, that movie would be so fucking boring, and we've seen it a million times. And again, the way they chose to tell this was so much more dramatic and interesting. Alex, you said it's not even like a biopic, and it's a shame that like biopic is associated with just that kind of boring, like Darkest Hour,
paint by numbers,
or something like that. It's like paint by numbers. Like, oh, if you tell me the name of the guy it's about, I could pretty much tell you the whole fucking movie. And this movie is so not like that.
I felt like there was a lot of character to characters that weren't even really fleshed out or developed. Like, one of my favorite characters to watch was like the fat guy who had all these really weird facial expressions, and like you'd always cut to him and he'd have the perfect reaction to something. It's like, who is this man? I really loved how they presented the aspect of dealing with censorship, trying to get these performances or these operas produced and created, but they were dealing with this like, oh yeah, well, what will the government think about this, or Like
Yeah,
we
the king
shouldn't
won't
have
like that.
ballet, or we shouldn't have anything with any
That's
kind
great.
of tones that would cause conflict between the rich and the poor, even though they haven't even read it. They don't even know what's really in it, but they're so quick to try and censor and control what he's creating. And it's just like I love that aspect is in there too.
Yeah, that's universal and timeless. Apparently, people have always been dealing with that. Artists have always just been struggling with people who don't understand their art at all and are trying to control it. The whole part where they silence the ballet, so all the dancers are just dancing in silence,
Yeah.
and the king's like, "What the fuck? What the fuck's going on?" That was great.
It's quite self-aware too, because I was reading about the film, and obviously no big production companies wanted to fund it, so they had to be creative in terms of where and how they got their money. It's a pretty modest budget, I suppose. $18 million.
Wow.
$18 million, yeah.
That's impressive considering just the scale of it. Again,
think
it's not
so.
it's not like a big blockbuster, but just the what we were saying earlier, the fact that they got real locations and real opera halls, and the sets are huge, and the castles feel lived in and ginormous, and all of that just adds so much authenticity to everything.
Great costume design, great props, and
Yeah.
all that.
Great use of Mozart's music too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He would be playing music, and then they'd cut to like a little montage scene of them driving a carriage or something. Really well done.
Oh yeah. I really enjoyed the editing in certain scenes, when I guess also in the dictation scene, but there was an earlier scene where he was like reading through his music, and you'd hear the music itself as it was being read, like as
Yeah.
it's being
Yeah.
described, you're able to connect to what the actual part of the performance being referenced is, and I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that it wasn't cheesy too, because that could have easily been like a corny, oh look, he's coming up with that one, he's coming up with that song you all know.
Yeah.
But no, it makes sense because it's so grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph, so the version we watched was the director's cut. Was this your first time watching the director's cut?
I think I'd seen the director's cut before. I really don't remember which ones I've seen before, but watching it again, I think I've been watching the director's cut my whole time. Because apparently it's very difficult to find the theatrical cut. We didn't specify last episode which one to watch, but I was just trying to find the theatrical cut because I figured maybe people would want to watch that one because it's shorter, and I can't even find it. It's really hard to find. The Blu-ray I got is the director's cut. The version on Amazon is the director's cut, right?
Yeah,
The one
Amazon
I got
and
on
iTunes both
was the
are
director's cut. So.
director's cut.
Yeah.
So
So I figure maybe they just don't want people to see the theatrical cut. Maybe they figured like people back then needed it, but the director's cut's much better. I honestly don't know, but you don't feel the length at all.
yeah,
I watched this whole fucking movie thinking, oh, I'll watch it like halfway. And I watched the whole thing because it's just so entertaining and gripping and funny. And all the performances are great. We've hardly mentioned his wife in
Yeah.
it, Mozart's wife. And she's a great character too. She always calls him Wolfie. It was like really sweet, almost.
yeah. The apparently in the theatrical cut, one of the scenes that was not included was the first initial conflict between her and Salieri, which
Oh.
if you remove
Oh,
that,
really?
then it's not as easy to understand. Even though many years later, it's not as easy to understand her being so uncomfortable with him near the end. It feels a bit less
Yeah.
justified,
Oh, right.
and apparently that wasn't there in the theatrical cut.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I guess I've never seen the theatrical cut because
Okay.
I always remembered that part. There you go. We figured it out.
I love how much they showed of each of these performances.
Yeah.
And again, that was apparently cut down in the theatrical version. But
Mm.
I really loved how just watching and comparing these different operas and performances, we see the one that's kind of like, I think they described it as kind of like a vaudeville one where it was like the Michael Bay of operas in a way. And, and it's just so clearly like pandering and like just spectacle over art in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I love how they touched on that in the film, and the characters were describing like, oh, this audience wouldn't even know when to clap. You have to have a big bang at the end. Like, you got to dumb it down for these people. And that's just like another form of censorship in a way.
Yeah, that last chapter is pretty sad. Mozart's like final years, where he's like a total drunk and he's doing plays like that, and no one respects him.
Can we talk about the accents for a minute? Because it's the one thing that kind of distracted me. I was very confused as to where lots of the film was taking place, because of course you have people speaking. Some are speaking in their native tongue, like there is the Italian character, isn't there? And there's some people speak with like an American accent. Others are English. So I was very confused as to where it was supposed to take place. So I actually had to go and like research where it was supposed to take place. And and also in the trivia for the film I was reading, it was like a very intentional decision, because they didn't want the accent part to kind of take anything away from the performances, which are like excellent from the main characters. Okay. But I did find it kind of jarring at first to get used to. You do get used to it after a while, because the film is so long and it's like a whole journey. Mm-hmm. But at first I was kind of thrown off as to... It's just weird hearing like an American accent in this kind of context.
Yeah, I agree.
I can see that. Didn't really bother me, but I get it.
That was kind of my main complaint. You guys said you didn't feel the length at all. There was a little bit where I did, in the second act somewhere in the middle, where it was kind of moving focus way more onto Mozart for a huge chunk, and you weren't really seeing anything from Antonio. I was kind of getting a bit frustrated. I really wanted to go back to that character, because he was what was really holding it together for me, and there is the payoff where they do kind of have that great scene where they're working together sort of one last time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it bothered me.
It was like the Avengers teaming up. It's incredible.
Yeah. Those are the only things I really noticed. I liked how the film was all naturally lit, I think. No artificial lighting. Yeah, pretty sure.
I mean, I think they used artificial lighting. It wasn't like a Barry Lyndon, but it looked very natural.
Yeah, it was all really well shot. Not as well shot as Barry Lyndon, that's for sure.
No,
and it's like difficult
definitely.
not
But
to compare when we're talking like period pieces.
Yeah. It wasn't as showy, definitely. And the lighting felt very natural. Like none of it was distracting, and lots of oranges in the color palette to like mirror the candle light and all that. But yeah, it looked really good. It's a really good looking movie.
Yeah, it was all very competently and professionally shot. For sure. There was nothing that was like a big spectacle where I was thinking like, oh man, this crazy shot that they did. How did they do that? There was
totally
nothing like that. But yeah, like that wasn't really the goal of the film. So
I also really liked how there were very long scenes, but I was noticing how long they were, but they weren't dragging, they weren't dull, they were just interesting the whole time. Like it's just characters talking for the most part, but the dialogue is so good, the performances are so good. And what they're saying is so interesting. And the movements. There's lots of like the blocking is fantastic. There's like that scene where Mozart and him are reading off the sheet music and writing it together, and Antonio's like behind the bed. What's the front of the bed called? Like whatever that fucking thing is. And there's like the separation between them, and then he comes like closer together and leans in, and the angle changes. Like it was all really effective and well edited, and yeah, it was just really well done.
Yeah. It was purposeful.
Very purposeful, but also not distracting or showy. It all blended together really well.
This isn't a film where I, like, compared to a lot of others, I didn't really write a lot of notes down.
Yeah, same.
Same here. It's just really well done and entertaining, and a fascinating character piece. Yeah,
I would definitely recommend it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very, very engaging, especially considering that it's just mostly dialogue.
Yeah, it's the performances carry it. It's just really interesting characters with amazing performances.
Absolutely. I think it's a perfectly executed movie in every way. I have no complaints with it at all. I really tried, like, because this is like the 5th time I've seen it. I really tried looking for something I didn't like, and maybe they cut back to like old Antonio few too many times. Like maybe we didn't need some of those scenes, but like that's it. I thought this movie is exceptional. I give it a 5 out of 5. I love it.
Yeah, I'm nearly there. I feel like if I see it again, I'll actually get more out of it each time. I'm sure you have with each viewing, if it's that hard to find anything to really pick apart. Yeah, it is very long, so be ready for that. If you're out there, you sit down for 3 hours and have a chunk ready, but it is consistently entertaining. Every element of it is very thoughtful, as we've already said. There's also a lot to take away from it, just in terms of what it's about, with what we've already talked about, with the not being able to come to terms with when you're beat by other people, all this kind of thing. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm with Alex. I'd like to see it again, and we'll see exactly how my rating changes. But really loved it, and I would give it a 8 out of 10.
Nice. Happy you guys liked it.
Yeah, boy.
Nice.
Tons of great movies tonight.
Yeah.
Ready for questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the part of the podcast where we answer fan questions. If you want to leave your own for us to answer, head over to the Sardonicast Reddit page, where Ralph will leave a thread for you to ask any question you please.
That's
so
right.
the first question comes in from BDog7171, who says, what are some of your favorite movie posters?
Ooh, I love the Alien one.
Yeah.
It's a very good one. The tagline is the one that sort of makes that one.
Yeah, that's a great tagline too. Not a lot of great taglines in movies. So.
Yeah, that's true. I like the Lobsters poster a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like all of Yorgos's posters.
Yeah,
Killing
they're
the
all very
Sacred
good.
Deer has a great
Plain white.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. It's so simple, but it conveys the tone perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the posters that kind of summarize the whole film in one image, and it kind of represents everything that it's about.
Yeah, there's a few movies out there that I can think of where the poster is what got me to see the film, where I'm like, oh, that's intriguing. Like Hard Candy has an interesting poster.
Yep.
The image for Hausu was how I discovered that film. It was
Hausu
a
has a
thing
really
on my
good one.
T-shirt, The Thing has a great one. There's tons of great posters out there.
Enemy has a great one. Enemy literally helps you piece together the puzzle of the movie.
Cachet.
Oh yeah, Cachet's got a good one.
I like the airplane poster, where it's like the plane that's tied in a knot.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
It's a really simple but effective
But
one.
again, represents exactly what you're in for, yeah.
Vertigo. I love the Vertigo one. And I love Pulp Fiction. That's a simple one,
Of course.
but I like it. I have it in my room. Like every film student does. What a fucking gay guy, am I right?
Gay.
Gay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch we're not thinking of right now, but
Yeah.
They Live has a good one.
Yeah, there's just so many. I bet if I had more time to find a bunch. Manhattan? Manhattan has a cool one.
Mm-hmm. The Room.
That's it.
Just Tommy Wiseau's
The Room.
face. Tells you everything you need to
Okay,
know
what
about
about
the movie.
shittest posters you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh, I have one. Yeah. I have one on my phone. I gotta find the name of it. It's literally the worst poster I've ever seen in my fucking life. I hope I could find it. You guys try to find some too.
Left Behind, that Nicolas Cage movie, has a really funny poster.
Yeah. Oh.
Cool Cat Saves the Kids.
Justice League had a bunch of really bad posters too.
Yeah. There was the X-Men ones where it's like the silhouette of it was X-Men First Class, that's it. It was like a silhouette of Dr. Xavier and Magneto, but they felt they needed to superimpose James McAvoy's face onto the poster and put it 80% opacity. It looked fucking terrible. It looked terrible.
It looks terrible.
Awful.
That is
I can't believe they did that.
That might be the worst one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Those are dreadful.
I mean, beside that, it was a pretty cool poster, but then they fucking ruined it with that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It looks disgusting.
Anything where you can tell it's severely photoshopped. Like that Ready Player One poster where he has the super long leg.
Ugh.
It's like, what? What happened to your
Well,
leg?
they feel like they have to They have to put every star's face in the poster just to sell the star power of it. That Spider-Man Homecoming poster, speaking of Spider-Man, it's fucking awful. There's one of them, it looks so cheap. It looks like a fan poster.
It's very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan.
I can't find that one.
I think a lot of the posters that I like, well, not a lot, but a decent amount of effective ones are usually created from just taking a single frame from the film, like the white ribbon.
Yeah.
It's like the entire movie is like you could make a poster out of in any way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's what Manhattan did. That's why I love that poster. It's just very simple. Playing It Cool with Chris Evans and Michelle Monaghan. That has an awful one.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever find this other poster, I'm gonna post it on Reddit because it's like so bad, like unreal how bad it is.
Worse than that X-Men one?
Yeah, worse than the X-Men one. They have like a
Really?
shadow on this guy's face, but it's done in Photoshop, so like half of his face is blue. It's like, oh my god, did you think that looked real? That looks fucking awful.
Yeah,
So,
there's tons of bad
whatever.
ones. Biodome, you can tell it's a shit movie before you.
Biodome. Yeah, that's a great one.
There's tons.
Aquaman with the sharks.
Oh,
the
yes,
sharks
of
from
course.
Getty Images.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. I think you
Yeah.
hit the nail on the head there with that X-Men one. That's
Yeah.
astonishing. I've never seen that before. Like, I cannot believe that exists.
Yeah,
The
they
professional
hung
made
that up in theaters. Yeah,
I want a copy of it now to put in my room.
Oh,
I want
yeah.
both of them.
Man,
Oh, I'm totally gonna do that.
I love owning posters for just bad movies. I got one for The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I had an Assassin's Creed Unity poster and a My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 poster because I just found them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've
So
actually
I just
got
hung them up.
I have a really cool hand painted Who Killed Captain Alex poster
Nice.
that came from Africa, from the people that actually worked on the movie.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned it in your video, right?
Yeah, it's an awesome thing. It's like in my
Yeah.
living room. It's a great piece of art.
Yeah.
Awesome film.
I love that
yeah,
movie.
great movie. Props to them. It's hilarious. I just watched it last month
Nice.
with my brother.
Oh, really?
Movie.
What's the guy's name?
Movie.
DJ? The DJ.
on the
Yeah.
mic. So brilliant.
This is Uganda. After he hits that woman, welcome to Uganda.
I feel like every film that exists should have a version where DJ Emmy is, or sorry, VJ
Absolutely.
Emmy is
100%.
voice jockeying the entire film. Every movie.
I would pay.
We need to
good
bring
money for
that guy here and just like set him up in the studio and just have him record a bunch of commentary tracks. I swear he'll make a fuck ton of money.
Yeah, we need to crowdfund that.
Mm-hmm. Movie.
Yeah. Schindler's List with VJ Emmy.
Oh, into the oven they go.
Jesus.
Got him.
Got him.
All right, next
Okay.
question.
Brenniger says, "Have you guys ever fallen asleep during a movie in theaters? Has that ever
I'm
happened to
very
you guys?"
very proud to say I've never done that.
I've come close a few times, but I've never pulled the trigger and actually closed the eyes.
I have.
Really? What was it?
Yeah, it's I don't think it's happened anytime recently.
Oh, I remember.
But yeah, there's been a few. When I was a kid, I fell asleep in Free Willy. When I was a little older, I think like teenager or something, I fell asleep in The Town with Ben Affleck. And then my favorite one to tell about these is how I fell
You
asleep.
told us this one.
I fell asleep in the movie Awake with Hayden Christensen. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
I
pretty
was
good.
proud of myself when I woke up. I was like, this is great. But I'm the type of person where like if I want to stay awake, I can. Like I'm never the guy that like falls asleep on the couch watching a movie. Usually I'm waking other people up if it's like super late or whatever. I always find it like relatively easy to keep myself awake. But there's some movies where I've just like I guess I just gave up. You know? It's like, nah,
Did you ever see The Town again?
no.
Like, wow. I think The Town's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I remember liking it when I saw it.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that
have
your
you guys
dog?
ever
I heard a dog.
I don't. Yeah, he's just out
Aw.
there. He
Oh,
wants.
good
He wants
boy.
in. No, bad boy. Stop barking.
Oh, it's
Have you guys
okay.
ever? Have you walked out of a film before because you were so furious or angry or bored or whatever?
I don't think so. I usually
I've come
stick it to the
close.
end.
I
Yeah.
nearly walked out of that Will Ferrell film, Land of the Lost.
Oh, that's a fucking awful movie. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I came close with that, but
I almost did with Identity Thief with Melissa McCarthy and Jason Bateman.
yeah, that film is
That movie's
insulting.
bullshit.
It's
It's
insulting, yeah.
insulting. That woman is such a bitch. And then they're like, oh, but she was fat, so
Yeah.
she's been
She
bullied
had
a
a
lot.
hard life. Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's okay
fuck
that she's
film.
a horrible bitch. It's like, no, it's not. It's not okay to steal people's identities and act like a bitch and be a criminal. I don't relate with her at all. I hope she goes to jail forever.
I really wanted to walk out of Clouds of Sils Maria with Kristen Stewart, and
boy.
it was a very long, very painful experience. But it was at Vancouver Film Fest, and one of the theaters that they use is basically just like a repurposed church, and we were in the center of the aisle, and it would have been impossible to leave, so we were kind of trapped there because there wasn't enough room to get past people, and it was just like, oh no. It was
That's a
so painful. It was a very painful experience.
Yeah, well, Kristen Stewart's in it. I can imagine.
She got like a French Academy Award for that film.
Really?
Really?
She
A
can't.
lot
even
of
close her
people
mouth.
loved it. A lot of people love this
She always
director.
has her mouth
Yeah.
open.
I did not enjoy it.
Yeah. God, I'll never see anything with her. Twilight, that was it.
Robert Pattinson's
Robert
been doing
Pattinson.
great.
Yeah, he's lucky I gave him a chance with what's that movie? Good Time. He proved himself with that. I was like, okay, you're a good actor, Robert Pattinson. But the rest of them, ugh, the Twilight crowd is just awful. All of them. Rami Malek too. He was in Twilight. I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Was he?
Yeah, briefly, but he's great.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not in Twilight, but
Lee Dumb asks, if you guys had a friend who liked the Madagascar series an unhealthy amount, how would you go about getting help for them?
well, we do, right? Didn't you give Madagascar 2 a 5 on a Letterboxd,
What are you
Alex?
talking about?
Hold on, I'm gonna read this review. You guys keep talking. I'll be right with you.
You familiar with the Madagascar series, Adam?
Yeah, I watched the
I
first
like to
one.
move it.
Fuck. It's not good.
Oh, maybe I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to
I
change
barely remember them.
my recommended movie. I was genuinely battling with recommending Madagascar 3.
Oh no.
But I didn't want to torture you guys.
Well,
Too
yeah, whatever. It's your
If you
your
wanted to
call.
Madagascar 3. Madagascar 2, Escape from Mort, is an important seminal film. First off, the emotion. Wow, the themes of racism hit hard. First off, the love triangle between Gloria, Moto, and Melman is striking and honest. All right, I've had it. That's it. This goes on for like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, I really am not a fan of the character design in those films.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the
They all
character
look
design.
like blocks, you know?
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's very
You
unsettling.
guys are uncultured.
I'm not a fan of the humor. I'm not a fan of
Do you
any
like
of it,
the
really.
penguins?
I don't really like it.
You don't like the penguins? Come on, you have to admit the penguins.
No.
They got their old spinoff. How about King Julian, the lemur?
He's my least favorite. And the penguins
yeah?
movie wasn't very good, but okay. Well, you guys haven't really answered the question, but okay.
I don't know what I would
Oh,
do.
well.
I usually, if somebody has
Electroshock
really,
therapy?
if somebody really loves something that I don't, I usually don't try to change that. I'm just like, well, whatever floats your boat, I guess, you know.
Next week, Alex is going to be replaced with someone else. Be fucking, who can we get on here? Movie
King
Bob?
Julian.
King Julian. Yeah.
That'll show him.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we can
I
do
have a
one more
real question if you want. Or...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
a
let's
real
do one more.
Dr. Fuzzy Slippers says, I have a fun one. What does Christmas movie mean? What defines a Christmas movie?
Takes place on Christmas, so that's why Die Hard is the best Christmas movie.
There seems to be some debate about that for some reason.
Does that count? Who's the guy who always makes movies it takes place on Christmas?
Shane Black, isn't it?
Shane Black. I was about to say Spike
yeah?
Jones. Shane Black.
See, he's the one that did that Predator movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is apparently awful. I haven't seen it.
I fucking hated it. I saw it recently.
Okay.
Couldn't stand it, yeah.
Can't wait to watch it.
Not set on Christmas, though, so I was very upset about that, especially.
Oh, really?
Yeah, first one in a while.
I didn't know that was a
shame.
thing that he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lethal
all of
Weapon
his
did
films, I
it.
think.
Iron Man 3
did it.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice Guys, right?
I
Is that on
can't
Christmas?
remember. Surely.
It probably is.
Yeah, just whatever, yeah. It did.
Yeah. There's very few Christmas-themed movies that I would say are good, so I'm willing to have the definition of Christmas movie be as broad as possible just so we can have more decent movies in there.
Yeah.
Which do you like, if any?
Brazil.
Nightmare Before Christmas is good. Oh, Brazil.
Gremlins?
Yeah. Gremlins is very good.
Yeah.
Home Alone?
Nah.
I haven't
fuck
seen that in a while.
I haven't seen it since I was like 6, so.
Yeah, a lot of these movies aged horribly. We tried watching Christmas Story last year, just to, for old time's sake, and wow, is that movie fucking awful. It's unbearable. It's so bad. It's not funny. It's like trying to be cute, but it's so dated. We fucking shut it off like 20 minutes in. I can't stand that cutesy bullshit. It made me want to gouge my fucking eyes out.
Did you ever see the Seth Rogen Christmas movie called The Night Before?
No.
I thought that wasn't bad. I was expecting something that was kind of bad, but it was all right. Like I gave it a 5, but it was pretty funny.
Really?
Yeah.
I just saw
5
the
out of
poster and I was
5?
like, yeah,
No.
I never want to see it.
5 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, perfect score.
Yeah, it's not a bad if you don't hate Seth Rogen, if you're like, okay, it's a Seth Rogen movie and I know what to expect. It's it's going to ride on comedians saying funny things and funny things happening and there isn't going to be like that much impressive going on technically. If you accept that, then it's like, oh, this is fun.
If you're forced to watch it with like family, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
one of those.
You
Okay.
you can
Okay.
watch it with family. It's not a family movie. It's rated R, but it's fun.
Oh, okay. Well, if your family's older, if you're all older. How about Elf? What do you guys
Nope.
think of Elf? Yeah, that's how I feel. I fucking hate Will Ferrell, and I can't stand that movie.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
about
definitely-
Since I was
definitely
a
not
kid,
great.
so.
Jingle All the Way? Arnold.
I mean, yeah. I
Oh,
remember
that
liking it
one.
when I was younger.
Yeah, it's,
I
it's
don't
something.
know.
It's
Something.
It's a fun movie that I enjoyed when I was younger. It's probably bad though. I mean, like I could probably watch
Yeah.
it currently and be like, not great. But I remember I was in I think grade 4 or something, and I really loved that movie, and I remember recommending it like to my teacher because she was like, "Oh, we're gonna watch some Christmas movies close to Christmas." I remember going up to her. I'm like, "Oh, could I bring Jingle All the Way?" And she's like, "Maybe." I'm like, "It's got Arnold Schwarzenegger," and then immediately I could tell her not knowing anything about the movie, she thought it would be some like crazy R-rated like action, like he kills everybody on Christmas, like sort of thing. She's like, "No." And then I realized when I was older that was probably how she interpreted it.
Yeah. How about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? I think that movie's
I don't
pretty
know if
good.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
you
it.
should see it. It's pretty good. It's pretty funny. And Arthur Christmas from Aardman Animation. That's a good one too. I like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cute one for the family. If you gotta watch the kids, that's a good one to put on.
Yeah.
Either that or Die Hard.
Yeah.
Or Madagascar 2.
Nah.
Madagascar 2's Christmas?
It can be if you want it to be. There is the Madagascar holiday special, which does
Oh,
have
yeah?
Christmas bits in it.
okay.
Yes, so that's out there
Isn't
for
there a
you
Shrek one
Madagascar
too?
fans. Oh yeah, but that's nothing compared to you don't know.
The Grinch by Illumination.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Didn't it
want
make
to
a
pay
bunch of money?
Probably.
Yeah, it made tons.
We're gonna get more. My dad was telling me how he went to IHOP and had like the Grinch pancakes. They had like the Grinch. I'm like, why the fuck did you? He went with his
green pancake.
Yes, with my mom to fucking IHOP to eat these green shitty pancakes. And he's like, oh, the Grinch is cute. It's clever. The tie-in was clever. They put green powder on it. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Whatever.
Nice.
Anyway, thanks everybody. It was fun.
That's that.
Who's gonna recommend a movie?
It's another episode for the books. It's me, right? It's my turn.
Right.
I got to bring it home. I'm not going to make you guys sit through a Madagascar movie.
Aw,
I'll save that for another time. I will eventually.
Okay.
But I'll spring it on you once
All right.
you've forgotten about
Okay,
it.
cool.
It'll be like 2 years from now.
My actual recommendation is a film I've been wanting to rewatch for a long time. Is Danny Boyle's Shallow Grave.
Okay,
from
awesome.
1994.
Oh, never seen it.
Have you guys seen that
Nope.
one? No.
No. Cool.
Writer of Trainspotting is the film he did before Trainspotting, I think. So should be interesting. Should
Yeah,
be
that's
cool.
awesome. I love Danny Boyle, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I
Hell
think
yeah.
there's a Criterion for that. Yes,
really?
there is. Yeah, there's a Criterion Blu-ray. I should get it.
Oh, nice. It should be pretty easy to find.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Nice.
Cannot wait because I have not seen it,
Me
and I've
either.
been meaning to, and I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah. I just remembered it randomly. I was like, oh, that'd be a good one to recommend.
Was that like his first movie or something? How
It
old?
might be,
How
actually.
old is this? Let's see.
94. Year I was
TV
born.
movie, TV series. Shallow Grave is his first real feature.
Feature, all
Yeah.
right.
And it was the one he
Awesome.
made before
That makes that
Trainspotting.
interesting.
Okay,
Nice. Okay.
nice.
Epic.
Dank. All right. Thank you guys for watching this episode.
Had a great time.
Of
Thanks, everybody.
Sardonicast. Hope you had a great whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. We love you all.
And yeah, if you'd like to support the show, we got some merch. We got you could donate $2 a month and get these episodes early. Go to sardonicast.com to do that, or patreon.com/sardonicast. Thank you guys very much. And if you would like to be involved in the movie discussion next episode, check out Shallow Grave because we're going to spoil it. And hopefully we've all seen Aquaman by next episode.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
I
we
hope
will.
so.
We will probably talk about that.
Don't let us down, Ralph. Do not
I'll probably
let us
get
down.
drunk and see it.
That would be an awesome experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figure.
With some kind of substance, that film is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that might be
So,
how I
I'll
persuade
try
my
that.
family to watch it with me or something.
Get
Maybe
'em
I'll
all
have to wait
drunk.
until I'm back. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you
I'll
guys
see if
so
I can
much.
find some LSD.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.